To understand what they were trying to do, you need to understand how we got here. My father, David Chen, started TechBridge Solutions in 1995. He was an immigrant engineer with a vision and a garage. My mother, Patricia, was his office manager, beautiful, organized, and obsessed with appearances. They had 2 kids, Marcus, the golden child, and me. Marcus got the attention, the private schools, the internships at Dad's company every summer. Mom threw birthday parties for him that looked like magazine spreads. I got different treatment, don't get me wrong. I wasn't abused. I was fed, clothed, sent to good schools, but there was always this sense that I was the backup plan, the spare, the one who didn't quite fit the vision Mom had for our family. When I was 16, I told Dad I wanted to study finance. He was thrilled. Mom said, "That's nice, honey, but don't you want to meet someone at college?" When I was 23, I got my first consulting job. Dad took me to dinner. Mom asked when I was going to settle down. When I was 28, I made senior consultant. Dad showed up to my promotion celebration. Mom didn't come. She had a charity gala with Marcus, but Dad saw me, really saw me. He'd call me on weekends, not just to chat, to talk business, to ask my opinion on acquisitions, on market trends, on hiring decisions. I became his unofficial advisor, his sounding board. Marcus worked at the company, sure. He had a title, VP of Strategic Development. It sounded impressive, but I knew the truth. Dad told me once, after a couple of whiskeys, "Your brother is good with people. He can shake hands and smile for investors. But you, Becca, you understand how things actually work." That was 2 years ago. Last year, Dad got diagnosed with pancreatic cancer, stage 4. He had maybe 6 months, they said. He lasted 7. In those final months, he got his affairs in order. He met with lawyers. He updated his will. He made sure everything was clear, documented, witnessed. He told me about it one afternoon in the hospital. Mom and Marcus had gone to get coffee. "I'm splitting the company 50-50 between you and your brother," he said. His voice was weak, but firm. "I know your mother won't like it, but you've earned this. You've been my partner in everything but title." I held his hand. "Dad, you don't have to." "I do, because you'll protect what I built. Marcus will run it. You'll make sure he doesn't run it into the ground." He smiled, that tired, knowing smile. "And Becca, don't let your mother bully you. She's going to try." He died 3 weeks later. The funeral was enormous. Business partners, employees, competitors, politicians. Mom orchestrated the whole thing like a Broadway production. I stood in the back, watching her accept condolences like a queen receiving tribute. Marcus gave the eulogy. He talked about Dad's vision, his legacy, his dream of keeping the company in the family. He didn't mention me once. After the service, the lawyer called a family meeting, just the 3 of us. He read the will. 50% of TechBridge Solutions to Rebecca Chen, 50% to Marcus Chen, the house and personal assets to Patricia Chen. Mom's face went white, then red. Marcus looked like someone had slapped him. The lawyer left the room to give us privacy. That's when Mom turned to me. "You're going to give it up. Not a question, a command." "Excuse me?" I said. "Your share. You're going to sign it over to Marcus. This is his company, his legacy. You have your little consulting job. You don't need this." I just stared at her. Marcus cleared his throat. "Becca, come on. Be reasonable. You don't even work here. I've been at TechBridge for 12 years. Everyone knows me. The clients, the investors, they expect me to lead. Dad wanted us both to have it," I said quietly. "Dad was sick." Mom snapped. "He wasn't thinking clearly." That was the line. That was the moment I knew this wasn't going to be simple. "I'm keeping my share," I said. Mom stood up. "Then you're tearing this family apart." She walked out. Marcus followed her. I sat alone in that conference room, looking at the framed photos on the wall. Dad with his first employees. Dad cutting the ribbon at the new headquarters. Dad shaking hands with the mayor. In none of those photos was I visible, but I was there, in the spreadsheets he'd sent me, in the late-night phone calls about cash flow projections, in the advice I'd given that saved the company during the 2008 crisis. I was there, and I wasn't giving up what he'd left me. The first official meeting happened 1 week after the funeral. Mom's lawyer, not Dad's lawyer, but her personal attorney, a man named Gregory Holt, sent me a formal invitation. "Estate settlement discussion," the email said. I showed up at the TechBridge headquarters, the building Dad built, glass and steel, modern but warm, his style. They'd put me in conference room B, the small one, the one for minor vendor meetings. Mom and Marcus were already there, so was Gregory, and another man I didn't recognize, expensive suit, silver hair, cold eyes. "Rebecca," Gregory said, standing, "thank you for coming. This is Richard Voss, corporate restructuring specialist." I didn't sit. "Why do we need a corporate restructuring specialist?" Dad's will was clear. Richard smiled. It didn't reach his eyes. "Ms. Chen, your father's will was indeed clear, but wills can be complicated, especially when it comes to operational businesses. There are tax implications, management continuity concerns, investor confidence." "I'm a financial consultant," I interrupted. "I know what those words mean. What I don't know is why we're having this meeting." Mom finally spoke. "We're trying to make this easy, Rebecca." "Easy for who?" Marcus shifted in his seat. He looked uncomfortable. "Good." Gregory pulled out a folder. "We've drafted a proposal, a voluntary share transfer agreement. You would relinquish your 50% stake in TechBridge in exchange for a one-time payment of $2 million. I actually laughed. $2 million. "It's a generous offer," Richard said. TechBridge's last valuation was $85 million, I said. 50% of that is $42.5 million. You're offering me less than 5% of what I'm owed. You're not owed anything, Mom said sharply. Your father built that company. Marcus helped him build it. You were off doing your own thing. My own thing, I repeated. You mean building a career? Becoming financially independent? Not relying on family money? Don't get self-righteous, she snapped. Gregory held up a hand. Let's keep this civil. Rebecca, the $2 million is cash. Immediate. No complications. If you insist on maintaining your equity position, you'll be drawn into years of corporate management, board meetings, shareholder disputes. I can handle it. Can you? Richard leaned forward. Because here's what's going to happen if you don't sign this agreement. The company will be paralyzed. Every major decision will require both you and Marcus to agree. He's the CEO. You're, what, an outside consultant who'll swoop in occasionally to second-guess his choices? I'm a 50% owner, I said. Same as him. On paper, Mom said coldly. But everyone knows Marcus is the real heir. Everyone who matters. That's when I realized what this was really about. It wasn't about money. It wasn't even about the company. It was about erasing me. Again. I'm not signing anything, I said. I picked up my bag and walked to the door. You'll regret this, Mom called after me. I turned back. Maybe, but at least I'll regret it with $42 million of equity. I left. Behind me, I heard Marcus say, she's being ridiculous. And Mom, she'll come around. She always does. They started the pressure campaign the next day. First, it was Marcus. He called me at work. Becca, can we talk? Just the two of us. No lawyers. I was in the middle of a client presentation. I stepped into the hallway. I'm working, Marcus. This is important. This is family. You had lawyers at the last meeting. That was Mom's idea. Look, I want you to understand my position. I've given 12 years to TechBridge. 12 years. I moved back to Seattle for this. I turned down other offers. I built relationships with every client, every investor. I know, I said. And Dad valued that. That's why he gave you 50%. But you don't even want to run the company. You have your consulting firm, your clients, your life. Why are you doing this? Because Dad left it to me. There was a long silence. You're being selfish, he said quietly. I'm being selfish. Marcus, you and Mom tried to buy me out for $2 million. $2 million for a stake worth $42 million, and I'm the selfish one? That's not, he exhaled hard. You're going to destroy everything. The employees, the clients, they need stability. They need to know who's in charge. Then you'd better learn to work with me. I hung up. 2 hours later, my aunt called. Dad's sister, Elena. I actually liked Elena. She'd always been kind to me. Becca, honey, I just talked to your mother. Here we go. She's devastated, Elena continued. She says you're refusing to honor your father's real wishes. His real wishes are in his will, Aunt Elena. Witnessed and notarized. I know, but, sweetheart, sometimes family is more important than legal documents. Your brother has worked so hard. Your mother is grieving. Is this really the time to be difficult? Difficult. I'm not being difficult. I'm keeping what Dad left me. But do you really need it? You're doing so well on your own. Marcus needs this. It's his identity. Then maybe Marcus should have built his own identity. Elena's voice hardened. That's cruel, Rebecca. No, Aunt Elena. Cruel is trying to guilt me into giving up $40 million because it's inconvenient for everyone else. She hung up. That night, my cousin Jessica texted me. Hey, heard about the drama. Just FYI. Mom says you're being really unfair to Marcus. Thought you should know people are talking. I didn't respond. The next day, another cousin, then a family friend, then someone from Dad's poker group, all with the same message. Be reasonable. Think of the family. Don't be selfish. It was coordinated. Obviously coordinated. On Thursday, Marcus showed up at my apartment. I opened the door, and he was just standing there, eyes red. Can I come in? I hesitated, then stepped aside. He sat on my couch. He looked terrible, like he hadn't slept. I don't know what to do, Becca. She's making my life hell. She calls me every hour. She's telling everyone I'm weak, that I can't even convince my own sister to do the right thing. I sat across from him. Marcus, this isn't about you and me. Yes, it is. It's exactly about us. We're family. We're supposed to stick together. We can stick together. We can run the company together. You don't understand. You weren't there. You didn't see how Dad struggled at the end, how he'd forget things, get confused. He signed that will when he was barely conscious half the time. I felt something cold settle in my chest. Are you saying Dad wasn't competent? I'm saying he wasn't himself. There were 3 witnesses, Marcus. A doctor, a notary. All of them certified he was of sound mind. They could be wrong. Or Mom could be manipulating you. His face flushed. Don't. She is, Marcus. She's using you. She wants control of the company, and she's using your guilt and your insecurity to get it. He stood up. You know what? I came here to make peace. I came here to try to fix this, but you're so convinced you're the victim. You can't even see what you're doing. What am I doing? You're tearing us apart. His voice broke. You're destroying the only thing I have left of Dad. You're making me choose between my sister and my future. No, I said quietly. Mom is making you choose. I'm just refusing to disappear. He stared at me for a long moment. Then he left. I sat alone in my apartment, listening to the door close. My phone buzzed. A text from Mom. Marcus tells me you won't budge. Fine. But don't expect to be welcome at family events anymore. You've made your choice. I blocked her number. But that wasn't even the worst part. The social media posts posts started on Friday. My mother didn't mention me by name. She was too smart for that. But she posted a long emotional message on Facebook about the pain of watching family turn against each other during grief and the heartbreak of a child who refuses to honor her father's true legacy. 200 comments, all sympathetic. Praying for you, Patricia. Family is everything. Some people only care about money. My phone started buzzing. Friends messaging me. Are you okay? Saw your mom's post. I didn't respond to anyone. Then the WhatsApp group exploded. Chen family, a group chat with 23 relatives. I'd muted it years ago, but I opened it now. Aunt Elena, I think we all need to support Patricia and Marcus during this difficult time. Cousin David, agreed. Family should come first. Uncle Robert, what exactly is Rebecca's problem? She's always been independent. Why does she need the company? Cousin Jessica, she's a consultant. She makes good money. This feels like it's about something else. Marcus, I've tried talking to her. She won't listen. I don't know what else to do. Mom, she's her father's daughter. Stubborn to a fault, but eventually she'll see reason. I took screenshots. All of it. Then I muted the chat again. On Saturday, I got a call from an unknown number. I almost didn't answer. Rebecca Chen? Yes? This is Diane Kowalski. I'm a reporter with the Seattle Business Journal. I'm doing a story about TechBridge Solutions and the transition of leadership after David Chen's passing. I was hoping to get your comment. My stomach dropped. How did you get my number? I'm a reporter. It's my job. So can you confirm that you're contesting your father's will? I'm not contesting anything. The will is clear. But you're refusing to step aside and let your brother run the company? That's not... Look, I'm not discussing my family's private business with the press. So you're declining to comment on allegations that you're preventing a smooth transition of leadership at a 90-employee company during an already difficult time? There are no allegations, and I'm hanging up now. I ended the call. My hands were shaking. They'd gone to the press, not with facts, with a narrative. I called Dad's lawyer, the one who'd read the will. His name was Thomas Brennan, and he'd worked with Dad for 15 years. Mr. Brennan, it's Rebecca Chen. I need advice. Rebecca, I was hoping you'd call. I've been hearing things. What things? Your mother hired Gregory Holt. He's known for aggressive estate litigation, and I got a call from a TechBridge board member yesterday asking about the status of David's will, specifically asking if there were any grounds to challenge it. Can they do that? They can try. It's a long shot. The will is airtight, but they can make noise, tie things up, make your life miserable. What should I do? Hire your own attorney. Not me. I represented your father, which means I can't take sides now, but find someone who specializes in estate litigation and corporate law. Do it today. Okay. And Rebecca, document everything. Every conversation, every text, every email, everything. I'd already started. That Sunday I went to a coffee shop to clear my head. I ran into Sarah Kim, an old friend from college. Oh my God, Becca, I heard about your dad. I'm so sorry. Thanks, Sarah. I also heard, people are talking about the company situation. I went very still. What are people saying? She looked uncomfortable. Just that there's some family drama, that you're making things difficult for your brother. Look, I don't know the details. Sarah, who told you this? It was at a fundraiser last week. Your mom was there. She was talking to a group of us and she was really upset. She made it sound like you were being unreasonable. Right, of course. Sarah touched my arm. Hey, I don't know what's going on, but if you need to talk, I appreciate it, really. But I should go. I left the coffee shop. I sat in my car for 10 minutes, just breathing. Mom was poisoning the well, systematically. She was telling everyone we knew that I was the villain, the greedy daughter, the one tearing the family apart, and people believed her, because she was grieving, because she was Mom, because I'd always been the quiet one, the one in the background. Then something didn't add up. The reporter, Diane Kowalski. How did she know to call me? How did she even know there was a story? Someone had tipped her off. I pulled out my phone and searched for recent Seattle Business Journal articles. There it was, published that morning. Tech legacy company faces leadership uncertainty after founder's death. The article was careful, no direct accusations, but it painted a picture. Marcus Chen, devoted son and 12-year company veteran, trying to honor his father's legacy, and an unnamed family member, me, creating complications in the transition. The article quoted sources close to the family, saying the situation was heartbreaking and unnecessary. I screenshotted the article. Then I drove to a law office I'd researched the night before. Her name was Keiko Tanaka. She was 45, Harvard Law, and had a reputation for destroying opposing counsel in estate disputes. I sat in her office Monday morning. Tell me everything, she said. I did. I showed her the will, the meeting notes from Gregory Holt, the texts, the WhatsApp chat, the article, the screenshots. She read through it all without expression. Finally, she looked up. They're going to try to force you out, not through legal means. The will is solid, but through pressure. Financial, social, emotional. They're going to make holding onto your stake so painful that you'll accept a lowball settlement just to make it stop. I know. The question is, can you handle it? I've been handling it my whole life. She smiled. Good. Because here's what's going to happen. They're going to escalate. They'll try to freeze corporate accounts, claiming management disputes. They'll leak stories to the press. They'll challenge every decision you try to make as a shareholder. They'll bury you in paperwork and legal fees, hoping you'll run out of money or patience. What can I do? Document everything. Don't communicate with your mother or brother except except through attorneys. Don't respond to social media. Don't talk to reporters. And most importantly, don't sign anything. I won't. I'm going to file a notice with the TechBridge board that you are exercising your full rights as a 50% owner. I'm going to request access to all corporate records, all financial statements, all meeting minutes. I'm going to make it very clear that any attempts to sideline you will be met with legal action. Will that work? It'll make them nervous, and nervous people make mistakes. She was right. 3 days later, I got a certified letter from Gregory Holt. It was a formal legal notice that Marcus, as CEO, was implementing emergency operational protocols that temporarily limited shareholder voting rights to ensure business continuity during a period of transition. In other words, they were trying to lock me out. Keiko filed an injunction within 24 hours. The judge denied their motion. The will was clear. I had full shareholder rights, but they didn't stop. Next came the buyout offer. Updated, $5 million. Still absurdly low, but higher than $2 million. Keiko sent back a counter, $42 million, or full operational participation. They rejected it. Then came the board meeting. TechBridge had a 5-person board. Marcus, Mom, who Dad had included as a non-voting advisor, and 3 outside members, a venture capitalist, a former tech CEO, and a corporate attorney. I had a right to attend as a major shareholder. Keiko and I showed up. The look on Mom's face when I walked in was worth everything. Marcus tried to act professional. Rebecca, I didn't know you were coming. I'm a 50% owner, I said calmly. I have a right to be here. The board meeting was tense. Marcus presented financials, strategic plans, partnership proposals. Every time he finished a section, I asked questions. Not aggressive questions, reasonable ones. What's the revenue growth projection? Have we stress tested these assumptions? What's the burn rate if this deal falls through? I could see Marcus getting frustrated. The board members looked impressed. One of them, Jennifer Park, the former CEO, said, "These are excellent questions, Rebecca. Do you have a background in corporate finance? I'm a senior financial consultant. I advise executives on risk management and growth strategy." Jennifer smiled. "We should talk after this meeting." Mom's face went red. After the meeting, Jennifer pulled me aside. "I knew your father well. He talked about you a lot. He said you had the best analytical mind in the family." "He said that?" "All the time. He also said he wished you'd work at TechBridge, but he understood why you wanted your independence." Something in my chest cracked open. "Thank you for telling me that. Your brother is good at relationships, but this company needs more than handshakes. It needs strategy. I think David knew that." She handed me her card. "Call me if you need anything." I left that meeting feeling something I hadn't felt in weeks. Validated, but I wish I could say that was the end. I was in a client meeting when my phone started buzzing, then buzzing again, then my smartwatch, then my laptop. News alerts, all from business sites. TechBridge Solutions announces major leadership event. I excused myself and stepped outside. The company website had a banner. Press conference. Today, 2 p.m. New chapter for TechBridge. It was 1:47 p.m. I called Keiko immediately. "Did you know about this?" I asked. "No. This is a violation of shareholder protocol. Major announcements are supposed to be approved by all equity holders." "What are they doing?" "I don't know, but I'm heading there now. Meet me at the office." I grabbed my bag and ran. Traffic was hell. I called an Uber, then canceled and took the light rail. Faster. I got to TechBridge headquarters at 2:14 p.m. The lobby was full of people. Reporters with cameras, business journalists I recognized from local news, even a crew from a national tech outlet. Security stopped me at the elevator. "I'm sorry, ma'am. The executive floor is closed for a private event. I'm Rebecca Chen. I own 50% of this company." He looked uncertain. I wasn't told. "Call upstairs. Now." He made a call, whispered, looked at me nervously. "They said the event has already started." "Then I'm going up." "Ma'am, I can't let you." Keiko appeared behind me. "Yes, you can. Or I'll have you personally named in the lawsuit I file in the next 30 minutes. Your choice." He stepped aside. We took the elevator to the executive floor. The conference room, the big one, the one used for investor presentations, was packed. Through the glass walls, I could see it all. A podium at the front. The TechBridge logo projected on the screen behind it. Rows of journalists with notepads and cameras. And at the podium, my mother. Marcus sat at a table to the side, looking nervous. Gregory Holt was next to him, whispering something. I couldn't hear what Mom was saying, but I could see her lips moving. Confident. Poised. Then I saw the screen change. A new chapter. TechBridge. Under single leadership. My blood went cold. A subtitle appeared, Marcus Chen named sole managing director, following sibling agreement. Sibling agreement. They were announcing that I'd agreed to step aside, on camera, to the press. They were lying, publicly, deliberately. That's when I realized what this was really about. This wasn't about convincing me anymore. This was about creating a public narrative so strong that I'd have no choice but to accept it, or look like a chaotic, vindictive outsider who was sabotaging her grieving family. "We have to stop this," I said to Keiko. "Agreed, but if we burst in there, we'll look exactly like they want us to look. Unstable and aggressive. I pulled out my phone. "What are you doing?" Keiko asked. "Something smarter." I pulled up the company directory. Every TechBridge employee had access to it, including executive assistants. I found her, Linda Morrison, Dad's executive assistant for 20 years. Loyal to him, kind to me. I called her. She answered on the second ring. "Rebecca, are you okay?" "Linda, where are you right now?" "At my desk." "Why? Is there a phone in the conference room? One that connects to your line?" "Yes, the main conference phone. But can you call it right now and tell them I'm on the line?" Silence. Then, "They said you agreed to step back." "Linda, look at me. Did I agree?" Another pause. No, you didn't. Your father would hate this. Then help me. Hold on." The line went silent. Through the glass, I watched Linda appear in the conference room. She walked quickly to the phone on the side table. She picked it up, pressed a button. Then she walked to the podium and whispered something to my mother. Mom's face changed. Irritation first, then confusion. Marcus looked up. Linda pointed to the conference phone. Mom said something sharp. Linda didn't move. Finally, Mom walked to the phone. She picked it up, held it away from the microphone, but I could see her mouth the words. "What?" That's when I spoke. "Mom, it's me. Put me on speaker." Through the glass, I watched my mother's face drain of color. She said something into the phone. I couldn't hear it, but I could read her lips. "Not now." "Yes, now," I said clearly. "Put me on speaker, or I'm walking in there right now with my attorney, and we're stopping this in front of every camera in that room." Marcus stood up from the table. Gregory Holt grabbed his arm, trying to hold him back. Mom looked at the journalists, at the cameras, at Marcus. She was calculating. I could see it. Finally, she pressed a button on the conference phone. My voice filled the room. "Hello, everyone. I'm Rebecca Chen. I'm sorry I'm late to this press conference. I wasn't invited, which is interesting, because according to that screen behind my mother, this announcement involves me." The journalists started murmuring. Cameras turned toward the phone. A reporter called out, "Ms. Chen, can you confirm that you've agreed to step back from TechBridge?" "No," I said. "I can confirm the exact opposite. I have not agreed to anything. I am a 50% owner of this company, as stated clearly in my father's will. I have not signed any documents transferring or relinquishing my shares." Mom's hand moved toward the phone, toward the disconnect button. "I wouldn't do that, Mom," I said quickly, "because if you hang up on me right now, in front of all these witnesses, it's going to look really bad, and I have a lot more to say." Her hand froze. Marcus spoke up, his voice tight. "Becca, this isn't the time." "Then when is the time, Marcus? When you've already lied to the press? When you've already announced something that isn't true?" A journalist stood up. "Mr. Chen, is your sister saying this announcement is false?" Gregory Holt jumped in. "There's been a misunderstanding. Family communications can be complicated." "There's no misunderstanding," I said. "Let me be very clear. 1 week after my father's funeral, my mother and brother offered me $2 million for a stake in this company worth $42 million. When I refused, they began a coordinated campaign to pressure me into giving up my inheritance. They've manipulated family members, leaked stories to the press, and attempted to lock me out of corporate decisions. And now, apparently, they're holding a press conference to announce an agreement that doesn't exist." The room exploded. Questions flew from every direction. "Ms. Chen, do you have proof of these allegations?" "Mr. Chen, did you offer your sister $2 million? "Mrs. Chen, can you respond to these claims?" Mom finally spoke into the microphone. Her voice was shaking, with anger or fear, I couldn't tell. "My daughter is grieving. She's not thinking clearly. This is a private family matter. It stopped being private when you made it public," I said. "And I'm thinking very clearly, which is why I have documentation of everything." Keiko squeezed my shoulder. She mouthed, "Good." A reporter in the front row stood up. "Ms. Chen, what kind of documentation? Emails, text messages, WhatsApp conversations, legal correspondence, meeting recordings where permitted by law, timestamps, witnesses. My attorney can provide a full accounting if necessary." "That won't be necessary," Gregory started. "Actually," Keiko's voice came through clearly, "I think it will be. I'm Keiko Tanaka, representing Ms. Rebecca Chen, and I'd like to note for the record that this press conference was held without the knowledge or consent of a 50% owner of TechBridge Solutions. That alone raises serious corporate governance questions." Another journalist. "Mrs. Chen, did you know your daughter was a 50% owner when you scheduled this conference?" Mom's silence was damning. Marcus tried to salvage it. "Look, everyone, this is a family disagreement. We're working through it. Maybe we jumped the gun on this announcement." "Maybe," I said. "Marcus, there's a slide behind you that says sibling agreement." "What agreement?" We hoped you'd come around by now." "You hoped. So you scheduled a press conference announcing something that hadn't happened yet, banking on me just giving in?" He didn't answer. The room was chaos now. Journalists talking over each other, cameras clicking, someone's phone was recording. Then something didn't add up. I looked at the slide on the screen again. Marcus Chen named sole managing director, following sibling agreement not CEO, managing director. That was a new title. Dad had made Marcus CEO, but managing director implied something else, broader authority, control over equity decisions. "Marcus," I said slowly, "what does sole managing director mean?" He glanced at Gregory. "It's just a title clarification," Gregory said quickly. quickly. No, Keiko said. It's not. A managing director in a privately held company typically has authority over shareholder decisions. Rebecca, they were trying to create a position that would supersede your equity rights. The room went very quiet. Is that true? A journalist asked. Mom finally lost her composure. Enough! Turn off the cameras. This conference is over. But the cameras didn't turn off. Mrs. Chen, another reporter called out, did you attempt to disenfranchise your daughter's inheritance? We're done here, Mom said. She ripped the microphone off her collar and walked off the podium. Marcus followed her. Gregory Holt tried to close it out professionally. Ladies and gentlemen, obviously there are some internal matters to resolve. We'll be releasing a statement. I'll be releasing my own statement, I said into the phone, with documentation. Expect it by end of day. I hung up. Keiko and I stood in the hallway, watching through the glass as the journalists swarmed toward the exit, already typing on their phones. That, Keiko said quietly, was brilliant. That was terrifying. Same thing. In litigation, my phone started ringing. News outlets. I declined them all. Linda appeared in the hallway. She looked shaken. Rebecca, I'm so sorry. They told us this morning that you'd agreed. We had no idea. It's okay, Linda. Thank you for putting me through. Your father would be proud, she said softly. He always said you had steel in you. She walked away. Keiko turned to me. Now comes the hard part. We need to get ahead of this narrative. Press statement, full documentation release, and we need to call an emergency board meeting. Can we do that? You're a 50% owner. You can do anything Marcus can do. For the first time in weeks, I smiled. The video went viral in 3 hours. Someone in that press conference had been live streaming the whole thing. Mom's announcement, my phone call, the chaos afterward. It was on Twitter, LinkedIn, YouTube. Local news picked it up. Then national business outlets. By evening, TechBridge inheritance dispute was trending. The comments were mixed. Some people sided with me. Good for her. Don't let them steal what's yours. Others sided with Mom. She's tearing apart a family business over greed. But the majority were just fascinated by the drama. This is better than Succession. I sat in Keiko's office, watching my life become public entertainment. Don't read the comments, Keiko advised. Seriously, it'll make you crazy. Too late. She pulled up a document on her screen. Okay, let's focus. We need to review everything before we release it. Start with the timeline. We spent 4 hours going through everything. The initial meeting where they offered $2 million. The WhatsApp family chat where they coordinated pressure. The text from Mom threatening to exclude me from family events. The legal notice trying to limit my shareholder rights. The board meeting minutes showing I was actively participating. And then, Keiko found something. She was going through the corporate filings Marcus had submitted to the board. Rebecca, look at this. She pulled up 2 documents side by side. The first was a shareholder agreement dated 1 week after Dad's death. It outlined voluntary transfer protocols in the event that one sibling chose to exit the company. The second was my signature on that document, except I'd never seen that document before. That's not my signature, I said immediately. Keiko zoomed in. Are you sure? Completely sure. Look at the loop on the R. I don't write like that. And the date? That's the day of the first meeting with Gregory Holt. I didn't sign anything that day. Keiko went very still. They forged your signature. The room felt like it was tilting. That's fraud. That's actual fraud. Yes, it is. She pulled up more files. Let me check something. She accessed the corporate server. I'd given her my login credentials as a shareholder. She found the original file upload. The document was created on this date, she said, pointing. That's 3 days before your father died. My stomach turned. Before he died? They created this document before he even passed. They were planning this. But who signed it? Who forged my signature? Keiko pulled up the metadata. The file was last modified by Gregory Holt. There it was. They hadn't just pressured me. They hadn't just manipulated the family. They hadn't just lied to the press. They'd committed fraud. Documentary fraud. Keiko sat back. This changes everything. This isn't a family dispute anymore. This is a criminal matter. What do? We take this to the authorities. Corporate fraud, forgery, potentially conspiracy. And we release a very specific statement to the press that makes it clear you have evidence of criminal wrongdoing. Will that stop them? It'll stop them dead. That night, Keiko sent a formal letter to Gregory Holt, Marcus, and Mom. The letter detailed the forged signature, the metadata evidence, and the timeline. It gave them 24 hours to respond. It also stated that copies had been sent to the Washington State Bar Association for Gregory's potential disbarment and the Seattle Police Department's Financial Crimes Unit. We didn't have to wait 24 hours. Gregory Holt called at 9 p.m. Keiko put him on speaker. Ms. Tanaka, I'd like to discuss a resolution. I'm listening. The document in question was created as a draft template. The signature was added in error by an assistant. It was never meant to be submitted as a final document. That's interesting, Keiko said, because it was submitted to the board and referenced in legal correspondence and cited as justification for limiting Rebecca's shareholder rights. Silence. What do you want? Gregory finally asked. Full restoration of Rebecca Chen's shareholder rights, public retraction of all statements made at the press conference, and a formal settlement offer that reflects the actual value of her equity stake. That's, or we go public with everything. The forgery, the timeline, the metadata, all of it. And you can explain to the state bar why you participated in documentary fraud. More silence. I need to talk to my clients. You have until noon tomorrow. He hung up. I looked at Keiko. Do you think they'll settle? settle? They don't have a choice. Forgery is serious. Gregory could lose his license. Your mother and brother could face criminal charges. They'll settle. Just like that. Just like that. But then something didn't add up. Wait, I said. If Gregory created the document before Dad died, he must have known what was in the will. He must have known Dad was splitting the company 50-50. Keiko nodded slowly, which means this wasn't a reaction to the will. This was premeditated. They'd been planning to cut you out from the beginning. The betrayal hit me all over again. Not impulsive, not emotional, calculated. The settlement meeting happened in a neutral conference room downtown. Me and Keiko on one side of the table. Marcus, Mom, and Gregory on the other. A mediator in a suit at the head of the table. No one made eye contact. The mediator started. We're here to discuss a resolution to the shareholder dispute involving TechBridge Solutions. Ms. Tanaka, would you like to present your client's position? Keiko slid a folder across the table. My client's position is simple. She is entitled to 50% of TechBridge Solutions as outlined in David Chen's will. Any attempts to diminish, transfer, or misrepresent that stake have been illegal. We have evidence of forgery, fraud, and defamation. We're prepared to pursue both civil and criminal action. Gregory started to speak. Keiko held up a hand. However, she continued, my client is also a pragmatist. She understands that ongoing litigation would be expensive, time-consuming, and destructive to the company her father built, so she's willing to consider a settlement, under very specific terms. The mediator looked at Marcus and Gregory. Would you like to respond? Gregory cleared his throat. We dispute the characterization of events. But in the interest of resolving this matter and protecting the company, we're open to discussion. Good, Keiko said. Here are the terms. Option 1. Rebecca retains her 50% stake. She receives full board participation rights, full access to corporate records, and equal say in all major decisions. Marcus remains CEO, but both siblings have veto power over significant actions. This is managed through a formal operating agreement with neutral arbitration clauses. Mom's face was stone. Unacceptable. Then option 2, Keiko continued. Rebecca sells her stake to Marcus for fair market value, based on an independent valuation conducted by a firm of her choosing. The current valuation is $42.5 million, but given the recent chaos and publicity, that number may have dropped. We'll see what the assessors say. Marcus spoke for the first time. We don't have $40 million. Then you'll secure financing, or you'll sell company assets, or you'll bring in outside investors. Not my problem. That could destroy the company, he said quietly. You should have thought of that before you forged my client's signature. The room went silent. Mom finally spoke. What do you really want, Rebecca? I'd been quiet up to this point, letting Keiko handle it, but now I looked directly at my mother. I want what Dad wanted, for me to be an equal partner, to be respected, to be seen. You were always seen. No, I wasn't. You saw Marcus. You saw the son who would carry on the family name. You never saw me, not really. And when Dad tried to fix that, you couldn't stand it. Her jaw tightened. Your father was sick. He wasn't thinking clearly. There it is again. You keep saying that, but 3 doctors, 2 attorneys, and a notary all certified he was completely lucid when he signed that will. So what you're really saying is that you don't respect his decision because it didn't match what you wanted. I wanted what was best for the family. You wanted control. I kept my voice even, calm. You wanted to erase me, again, like you've been doing my whole life. Marcus looked down at the table. He didn't argue. Mom's eyes were wet, but her voice was hard. So what now? You take the company? You destroy everything your brother has worked for? No, I said. I'm taking option 2. I'm selling my stake for fair market value, and then I'm walking away. Marcus's head snapped up. What? I don't want the company, Marcus. I never did. I wanted Dad to see me, and he did. That was enough. But I'm not going to let you steal from me. I'm not going to let Mom bully me into taking scraps. I'm taking what's mine, and then I'm done. Keiko pulled out another document. We've already had a preliminary valuation done. Given recent events, including the publicity damage from the press conference, TechBridge is currently valued at $78 million. Rebecca's stake is worth $39 million. Mom actually gasped. That's including the negative press? Marcus asked. Yes, the company fundamentals are strong. Your father built something solid, but the public fight knocked off value. If you'd handled this properly from the start, it would have been worth more. The mediator interjected. Are you prepared to accept $39 million for your stake, Ms. Chen? Yes, I said, with 3 additional conditions. Which are? Gregory asked. 1. A full public retraction of all statements made at the press conference. Marcus issues a statement saying there was a miscommunication, that I was always entitled to my full inheritance, and that we've reached an amicable resolution. Marcus nodded slowly. Okay. 2. You never speak about me publicly again. No press, no social media, no sources close to the family. If anyone asks, asks, the matter is resolved in private. Agreed, Gregory said. 3. Linda Morrison, Dad's executive assistant, gets a 5-year contract extension with a 20% raise. She was loyal to Dad, and she deserves security. Marcus actually smiled at that, just a little. Dad would have wanted that. Yes, Mom said nothing. The mediator looked around the table. If all parties are in agreement, we can draft the settlement documents today. Keiko pulled out a pre-drafted contract. Already done. We just need signatures and a payment plan. Gregory reviewed it. Marcus reviewed it. Finally, Mom looked at it. How are we supposed to pay $39 million? She asked. Marcus will take out a loan against the company, Keiko said. We've already spoken with 3 banks. Given TechBridge's revenue and assets, securing financing won't be difficult. The payments will be structured over 5 years. That'll hurt growth, Marcus said. Yes, it will, but you'll still have a company, and you'll own all of it. He sat with that for a moment. Then he picked up the pen and signed. Mom signed last. Her hand was shaking. I signed without hesitation. The mediator witnessed. This settlement is now binding. Congratulations on resolving this matter. No one said congratulations back. We stood up. Marcus looked at me. Becca, don't, I said quietly. Just don't. I didn't know about the forgery. I swear. Gregory told me it was just a draft. You knew they were lying at that press conference. You stood there and let Mom announce something that wasn't true. That's enough. He nodded, looked away. I walked out. Mom didn't say a word. In the elevator, Keiko turned to me. How do you feel? Lighter, I said, and sad, but mostly lighter. You did the right thing. I know. The doors opened. We walked out into the Seattle sunshine. I took a deep breath. It was over. 6 months later. I'm sitting in my new office. It's smaller than TechBridge headquarters. Just 3 rooms in a downtown building, but it's mine. The sign on the door says, Chen Advisory Group, Strategic Financial Consulting. I sold my TechBridge shares. Marcus made the first payment on time. I suspect the other 4 will come on time too. Gregory is too afraid of further legal action to let him default. I used part of the money to start my own firm. The rest is invested, diversified, secure. I have 4 employees. We've signed 6 clients. We're profitable. I'm building something, like Dad did, but on my own terms. I don't talk to my mother. She sent one email 3 months ago. Subject line, can we talk? I deleted it without reading the message. Marcus and I have a professional relationship. He sends a quarterly update on TechBridge performance, required by the settlement. I respond with a brief acknowledgement. That's it. Linda Morrison sent me a plant for my office opening. The card said, "Your father would be so proud." I cried when I read it. Aunt Elena reached out last month. She apologized, said she didn't know the full story, that Mom had manipulated what she told the family. I accepted the apology, but I told her I needed space. Some of the family has been supportive, some haven't. I'm learning that's okay. I'm also learning that I don't need their approval. I have my career, my independence, my self-respect, and I have something else too, clarity. For years, I thought there was something wrong with me, that I wasn't enough, that Mom's coldness and favoritism toward Marcus meant I was lacking somehow, but I wasn't the problem. The problem was a mother who couldn't see beyond her own ambitions and status obsessions. The problem was a brother who took the easy path instead of standing up for what was right. The problem was never me. Dad knew that. That's why he left me 50%. Not because he thought I wanted to run TechBridge, but because he wanted me to know, finally, definitively, that I mattered. That I was equal, that I deserved to be seen, and I was seen. I carry that with me now. Last week, I got a call from Jennifer Park, the board member who'd pulled me aside after that first meeting. She's starting a venture capital fund focused on women-led businesses. She wants me to be an advisor. I said yes. Sometimes I think about what would have happened if I'd signed that first agreement. If I'd taken the $2 million and walked away, I would have spent the rest of my life wondering if I'd made a mistake, if I'd given up too easily, if I was worth more than they said I was. Now I know. I'm worth exactly what Dad said I was worth, and I'm building a life that proves it.